Okay, everybody, we're back here on day 3, 4, 7. I don't know what it is on the Wynantskill truck. We are turning drums. Got the passenger rear drum here. We did the front ones. Just showing you guys how we can do this here at our shop. Got about 20, 25 minutes left on this one before it's done. Just got it started. And we're going to finish up the brakes and finish up the carburetor and take this thing for a test drive. So we've been really busy here working on the brakes and finishing things up. This is what the brakes look like on this 28 Sanford here. It's a Timken axle. It has, you got your parking brake here and you've got your service brake over here. You can see the bands are, this is wider than this, and it's all in the same drum. Very unique. I've never seen this style before, but it works well. Mark just got done putting these on. And we're going to be putting the wheels on here in a little while with the drums and getting the brakes back together. Mark's over here getting ready to do some touch-up paint. We've got our ignition and all that stuff ready to go on the engine. We just need a carburetor kit here. And we'll get the carburetor mounted back on here and we should be ready to go. So I think the next thing is going to be put the carburetor together, and we've got to test the parking brake here, make sure this thing's working. We straightened out this rod here, this lever, so you don't hit your hand. Looking forward to seeing if that's going to work. I think it's going to work great, and we'll adjust this parking brake and make sure that's correct. A lot of times you see these parking brakes are, pulled all the way back against the seat, and they're not really doing anything. You got to fix your parking brake. It's not doing anything. It's not helping anybody. If you get in an emergency situation, you need to use that thing. So let's get started on finishing up those drums and installing them on the back wheels. Okay, so we had a little snafu here with our video audio, but I'm going to fill in here. We are currently working on the drums here, taking them off the machine. This Van Norman drum machine is really, really nice. It works wonderful. We use this on all our trucks pretty much in the shop. And Drew's giving me a hand here. We're taking this drum off, and we're going to transport it over to the truck and install it in a little bit. Here's one of the rear drums installed, and this one went on pretty easy, not that big of a deal. And we were able to get the front ones on here. The front wheels, brand new tires. These tires are really, really nice, US made. I believe they're STA tires. I forget who makes those, but they're super nice. And we got all that together, and then you'll see here in the back, we had a problem with the brake shoes binding on the drum, and that can happen sometimes with putting brakes on, and you got to make sure everything's retracted all the way. And I'm going to clean the drum here and get this thing ready for bearings and putting things together. There was some grindings in here, cutting grindings from the cast iron and the drum turning machine. You want to make sure this is really, really clean before you go and put grease and bearings in there. Obviously, you have metal in your bearings, you're gonna have a bad day. Truck's not gonna make it that far. You see here I'm putting grease into the drum. This is a really important thing that a lot of people miss. They don't fill up the internal part of the drum with grease. It's supposed to be there to wick out in case when the thing gets warm, that grease will flow and it'll get in and help keep the bearing lubricated. And here I'm gonna throw the inside bearing in. and then I'm going to put the seal in, and we're going to install the drum here, and you're going to see we have a problem with trying to put this drum in. It just doesn't want to go, and we tried a bunch of different things, taking the thing on and off a couple times, and it turned out that we had an adjuster problem. Drum brakes use brake rods. Mechanical brakes use brake rods, and in order to adjust everything after it's been together for so long, you have to kind of go and start over, because usually what happens is the fire departments and people that own these vehicles, they adjust the rods and to tighten up on the brake shoes, and that works good for a while, but eventually the brakes really need to be replaced, and the guys aren't replacing the brakes. They just keep tightening them up for the next parade, and that happens over 40, 50, 60 years, 70 years, 80 years, whatever it's been here. And then we get there and we have to start all over because we're redoing everything, and you can't have these shoes are quite accurate. In this case, these are really bands that go on there, not shoes, but everything's got to be just right, or else it will not go together correctly. You're gonna have binding and all kinds of problems. So here you had the jack. We're trying to get the jack out to try to make the thing. Sometimes the drum will get crooked and it won't go in there because it's on an angle. But in this case, it just didn't. It just didn't want to go because of the adjusters. So I'm gonna go in here and I'm going to release these adjusters. We were able to get them on. You could see these. This is a cable style. There's the brake rods right there. One's parking brake, one's for the service brake. And you'll see the cable here. I was trying to attach that on there and it's not long enough. It was too short. So those were too tight, and we were now able to get that drum on. You could see now it slid all on. Mark is putting on the bearing, the outside bearing, and taking care of all that. So that's the last of these drums to go on. And now I have to go up into there and adjust these slack adjusters to make sure that everything's going to fit correctly. And you can see the cable goes through it's kind of unique. One end goes on one side, one end goes on the other, and then there's like a U-shaped channel that the cable goes through on this system. It's kind of unique. It evens out the pull. Here I've got some better lighting I brought in here, and you can see I'm pointing out, tightening up the locking nuts on there. That's really important when you're working on something like this. You need to make sure that the locking nuts are tightened after you're done adjusting everything. You don't put cotter pins in every single time when you're adjusting in the process. You just put the pin in, test it on a flat floor. Okay, hey, the truck's still not stopping right, going a short distance, 3-4 feet. And then you get under there and you adjust it again and keep repeating that process until you get the correct setting. Then you come back, put your cotter pins in, and tighten up all these lock nuts, and then you can take it out in the street and test drive it safely. You can see the grease in there. There's grease in that kind of horseshoe-shaped U-channel thing there. That's you want to make sure you have grease in there, because if that's not greased, that's not going to stay even. It's going to be crooked, and you're going to pull on one side versus the other. You want to be able to pull on both sides evenly. And now Mark is in the process of putting on the outer axle gasket. And he's going to install that here. And we're going to put on the rear tires. He's going to zip that on. And I'm getting the tools out here. We use a brake spoon. You gotta have a tire spoon for putting these on. It makes it so easy. And here comes the tire spoon. I'm instructing Mark on how to put this on. Mark is one of the new members here at the shop. He's doing a great job, and he's fitting in really well, and we're really happy to have him. And so I'm showing him how to put on these large tires. He's got experience working at Toyota in the past, and this is a lot bigger and heavier than Toyota's, so it's a little different. And got to show him how to put all the spacers on here. I just installed the spacer in between the rims. Got to make sure that's clicked in properly. Got to beat on it with a hammer and play with that a little bit to get it right. And then we got the next done. There's the next wheel. And you want to make sure, I'm instructing him here on the positioning of the valve stem. A lot of people don't pay attention. They put the valve stem right next to the other valve stem, or one clock at one bay over, if you will, in between the lug nuts. You want them 180 degrees apart. That's a standard, or as close to 180 as you can. If you have a 5-point hub there, obviously you can't be 180 degrees apart, but you want to be two bays away from the other valve stem there if you had a 5-point hub. In this case we have, I believe that's looks like, I think it's 8 points. And we just got that lined up, and we're just getting the center adjuster ring position in correct spot. You kind of have to mess around with some of these wheels. They're sometimes difficult to put on the right way. You have to make sure you check and recheck, and I think I realized that I had the center ring not lined up with the valve stem here, and then we got it fixed, and now we're putting it back on, and that takes care of the rear wheels. That's all the wheels done on this truck. And again, the same tires in the back here, those STA tires are just really, really nice. There's the valve stem you can see in between that spacer, and Mark's gonna just zip these on the rest of the way, and we are done putting tires on. The only other thing you got to do is make sure you don't forget your magnetic light. That's one thing that all of us have done so many times, and he did get that light out of that fender, so. And I'm just taking the jack stands down here, and this truck's ready for a carburetor and some brake adjustments and some test driving. Okay, everybody, so I figured I'd show you guys us moving some stuff around the shop. We've got one truck outside. We've got this Wynantskill truck to put over there. This truck outside, North Branch, New Jersey, is coming back inside, and we've got Beaumont, Texas to bring in here. So check it out. And that's how it's done, moving this stuff around. We use manpower, fork truck power, whatever we need to move this stuff around. So now we've got everything in position for what we need to do for the next couple weeks, 3 weeks or so. So next, after we've got all these moved in here, it's going to be Wynantskill finishing the brakes, adjusting those, and we've got to put the carburetor on, and that's done. That's out of here. We got a lot of work to do on the North Branch, New Jersey truck here. We've got to do brakes and tires on that. In fact, I got to order tires. I got to get on the phone for that. And then we've got the Beaumont truck here, which we're going to be doing some. This is going to be going out for some body work and paint work, and it's going to be coming back, and then we're going to be doing some assembly on this truck. So we've got some prep work to do on this, some welding and stuff. We're going to probably maybe show that, and just tons of stuff going on here. So, oh, and we got the 36 Seagrave over there, and there's a bunch of stuff upstairs, and there's stuff coming here next week. 1958 white Bruco. I know, I said it, 1958 white Bruco. It's a new truck for me, but it's really cool, and it's coming all the way from Grand Junction, Colorado. So stay tuned for a video on that in the coming weeks. Okay, so I think it's time we take Wynantskill out for a drive. I had to put on my winter coat here. This is the coat I wear all the time. I've been wearing the same exact thing for years. I believe this is a Carhartt. It's really, really nice. It's just thin enough, you know, for you know, fall, early winter, and it's just thick enough for a lot of stuff in the wintertime. It's pretty much what I use all the time, unless it gets really cold. 10 degrees, 0 degrees, you got to add something else. But this coat does a good job. And if it gets really cold, you got to throw a hat on, but not today. It's Connecticut, it's not North Dakota. So let's take this truck for a drive. Everything's working really good on this. Temperature gauge worked yesterday when I took it for a ride. Brakes are working great, ammeter's working good, oil pressure. Just a super nice driving truck. Really, really nice driving truck. She's a little cold yet. I had it in the barn there and in the storage area, and I really didn't let it warm up, so it's not cold up there. It's probably 55 degrees, 60 degrees, but beautiful day for a ride. Beautiful day for a ride. And this truck ride's really nice. Drives straight. It's starting to warm up now. I see the temperature coming up. I have a route I do around town here for testing these things, and it's a nice, probably two mile circle. Probably I never really mapped it out, but it works good. It's close to the shop, and we can still test things out. So. They do a great job. I see the guys out all the time. This thing's going like, I'm guessing we're doing about, I don't know, 35 right now, maybe 40, and no problems. It's running great. Brakes are working wonderful. Just had to slow down here for these chip trucks, and I'm barely touching the pedal. What a little sweetheart of a truck right here, I'll tell you. This Sanford is working nice. It's running great. We got about $1.30 right now on the temp gauge. $1.30, yeah. 38 pounds of oil pressure still. This oil is already warmed up a bit, and it's still holding nice pressure, so this engine's in good shape. And the alternator's charging. Really, really nice. It's going to be great for driving around Wynantskill when it gets back. They're supposed to pick this thing up today, I guess. I love the brass shift knob here too. I don't know if you can see that on the screen. Do a little downshift in here. Boy, this thing just purrs right along. You know, Wynantskill uses, I believe they use avgas in their truck. They aviation fuel, for anybody that doesn't know what that is. And man, it just takes right off. This engine's got a lot of power, this Continental 22R. Buddy. Got this road here right near the shop. I'm going to use that at the hill test here. Don't even really need to downshift it.
engine's got a lot of torque, so now we're in 4th gear, going up a pretty darn steep hill here. We're accelerating a little bit up the hill, so this is, she's running great. Man, what a little sweetheart. Jeez. I'm not a Sanford guy, but I could be convinced. Okay, so this is going to close out the Wynantskill project here. You know, we had a really great time working on this thing. It's a really nice truck. As you can see, it drives really, really great. We're excited to get this back to the customer, and we hope that they enjoy it at the next parade in springtime. Remember, like and subscribe. We really appreciate your help on these videos. It really means a lot to us. And it's free. Doesn't cost anything. Click the buttons and keep that old line running.